In 3 words, the best stories.
I'm going to show you some of the best things going on right now.
The best stories
are authentic.
They are relevant.
thought-provoking.
Emotional is probably the first
The best
one for
stories
me.
are humorous,
shareable.
They
I think
are
emotional.
entertaining.
They're unique.
I would
And
say
relevant.
inspiring,
Honest.
real
colorful,
stories that are good today.
and
And
just
they're
funny.
emotional.
Those are some of the best stories.
What's going on, everybody? This is Nathan Peterson coming to you live from Las Vegas, NAB. We're here at the SiriusXM studio, and I have the distinct pleasure of sitting with Julie Souza from AWS. How
Nate.
are you, Julie?
I am great. I'm in Vegas.
I know. Well, we were
NAB.
just in we were just in San Antonio, like 24 hours ago?
Yeah.
for Final Four.
Exactly.
That was a random instance. Just kind of walk in the suite. I'm like, Julia, aren't we doing an interview together? And like,
shouldn't you be in
hours?
Vegas right now? Shouldn't you be in Vegas right now?
Yeah.
That was a wild game, though. That end of that Houston Duke game
Man, that
was
was
nuts.
crazy. Yeah, I'm still thinking about the earth-shattering dunk from Florida too. That was like that
was
blew the
bonkers.
stadium up. Man, the energy there was at an all-time high. That was so much fun.
Great.
That
I
was
hadn't
so
been to
much
Alamo
fun.
Dome before, but
Yeah.
that sound reverberates there.
Tell me, well, give the audience an intro. Who are you? What do you do at AWS? I've heard it, but we want to tell our listeners and our friends, our storyteller followers. I'm sure there's a million of them, right?
Millions.
Millions. Yeah,
plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have a cool job. I get to lead global sports strategy for AWS. So it's really trying to figure out, hey, what are the needs in the industry?
Mhm.
And then how do we leverage tech to sort of help accelerate some of those areas for innovation? So a couple areas of focus where we see a lot of energy, but we're always adding inputs, always talking to customers and trying to figure out, what's new, what's next, what's a problem we need to solve, and how can AWS and the cloud and technology help?
It's kind of a small job,
Yeah,
that doesn't cover anything too important,
No.
right?
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, though, it's sports. Like
Yeah.
So it should be fun. We should be like,
How lucky are we?
yeah,
Like,
right? Exactly.
I pinch myself all the time. I mean, we were just at Final Four together,
Exactly.
in a watching the coolest games in the best competition and around really great people in this industry, a lot of amazing technology, and
Which you guys at Tagboard are part of that story, right? Come on.
Thank you. Well,
It's awesome.
we're a proud partner with AWS, and appreciate all the love and support. Man, have you gotten a chance to check out the F1 experience yet?
Yeah. How cool is that? Should we tell folks what that's about?
Yeah.
So in the lobby at NAB, there are a bunch of F1 simulators, cars. So you get in there and you're racing a race, complete with the analytics and post race interviews and all of that. And Tagboard, you guys are actually producing the whole thing. So if you continue out from the lobby to the AWS booth, you can see the output of that, the live production happening of what's happening in the lobby, right?
Yeah.
And it's super cool because it's illustrating, I think, quite powerfully what's happening in the industry in terms of folks leaning in on live cloud production and trying to move some of those workloads to the cloud, which there are tons of benefits for, but one of them is, a lot of this alternate broadcast capability, right?
Yep.
So creating different versions of a live sporting event to serve different audiences, because not all fans are the same.
Yeah, and the way to scale that and the way in which to do that, my team's heard me say it a million times, and I've got such talented people that are stewards of a better user experience. So for us, cloud was important from an efficiency standpoint, and then building the UX that anybody can learn to produce, that was a huge win for us. And it's funny that it all like kind of started with like tweets making fun of Chuck and Shaq, but that was like, I want this tweet and this graphic and I want it live. And we looked at it and said, what if you could do that with any data set, right? And so, now being able, like the F1 experience, like we intake the data sets with you guys, and are running, we're running these insights during this show, and it's all being done, cloud hosted, could be done on a laptop. I mean, we're showing off in the box and the glass box there, but I mean, like you could be doing this from your couch at home with the internet.
100%.
Right. And that's crazy.
The cool thing about it too is it's taking it's making I think it's making the content, the live game, even more interesting and engaging. Because we used to have this sort of like flaccid, passive, live game,
You did it. You did it.
I did it.
Oh, man.
Passive viewing experience. And now we've really, it's a more lean in. If you've got like analytics coming in and tweets coming in and fans are engaging with this content in a way that I think is actually accelerating and driving fandom, which everybody in the industry wants, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's been, thank you and the team for trusting us, and shout out to Gregoire and Simone and the crew that brought us together to do this, because it's a big trust factor to run something that large at all of our largest show in the industry that's trying to change the game in broadcast. I'm not gonna lie, I was practicing as much as I could on Xbox at home, but I don't have like a steering wheel and sim. So
did you go and do it? Did you do the experience?
I haven't yet. I've been there.
You.
I've been to it. Let's race.
All right.
Deal. We'll race. We'll set the time. I'm interested to see how I do on the sim. I'm really bad with my thumbs. I've always been a terrible video game player. I've never been good with I would always just put it on easy mode because I was just like, I'm just not good at playing video games. It's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, I'm not good. My kids certainly participate.
Yeah.
I always like the driving ones, but then I crash into things.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as we were testing and running the test just to make sure everything, data wise and streaming wise was going, as smooth as possible. It was like a Friday ago. I hop on Xbox and I'm playing against our head of Eng, Craig, and a bunch of our dev team, and they thoroughly kicked the shit out of me. And I was like,
humbling.
I was just like, I thought even with all this practice, I thought maybe I'd be good enough. No, they kicked my ass all over the place. And
do we have a leaderboard going on out there?
Yeah, we do. Well, we do. We have a
Right.
leaderboard, which is amazing. So hopefully I'm like, guys, it's just because my thumbs aren't good. I'm a good driver, so maybe when I get in the sim, maybe I can hit the leaderboard. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. It was funny. He told me the story today. He goes, what I think it was Tyler asked. He goes, were we supposed to let Nate win?
Oh, that's hilarious. Let the boss win.
I was like, nah, man, that's not how this works. You get a chance to throw the CEO in their place. You gotta whoop my ass and talk shit for the rest of your life.
So good.
Tell me a little bit, let's take this back.
Right.
Tell me, how'd you get your start in the industry?
Oh gosh. I started in sports at College Sports Television, which was a startup cable network that was going to own college sports, right? It was great. And I think there was a lot of stuff. The coolest thing about that is you came in at that level and it was small and startup-y and scrappy. And I got to see every part of how that industry works, right? And that, I worked with programming, work with production, work with sales, work with distribution. You're working with, I ran business development. So it was like BD, right? And so it was a really good sort of baptism by fire, jumping in there. And from there I went to Sports Illustrated, hoping to see if we could keep that thing, just sort of get that trajectory from a downward spiral into an upward one.
Man, the backstories on that when we were sitting in the suite with the WBD team, that was pretty cool. I know you saw some people that you've known for a long time in the industry, and we won't put it on blast here. You can tell whatever stories you want, but just to hear the history behind some of this stuff is so cool.
It's really interesting, and it's it was a shame. I really, I thought Sports Illustrated, great brand, great storytelling, right? Yeah. But other dynamics at play. But from there I went to ESPN and ran business development, did strategy there.
Small company
in the sports space. Yeah.
A few of us
awesome.
have heard of.
Yeah. And then actually what happened when I was at ESPN, I did a deal with a company called Second Spectrum, which is player tracking and analytics for the NBA. Is where they started. Yeah. I actually did a deal with them, and I started understanding what they were doing, the data that was being collected in sports now that didn't exist when I was growing up a sports fan, right? The raw data was a box score.
Yeah.
Now it's this super, super granular data that you can, I remember sitting back thinking, this is going to change everything, right?
Yeah.
This data, I don't even know how we're going to use all this data, but I think it's somewhat of a limitless well. And you're seeing that. It's player health and safety.
Yep.
You look at what the NHL has done. I mean, they're coming off the season with the fewest concussions ever, right?
Yep.
And they're doing that because they've got this data that helps them understand how, certain position players are absorbing hits differently. So why is it a one-size-fit-all helmet? Now there are 8 different helmets in the NFL, right? So player health and safety use cases. We've done stuff with NHL, Edge IQ, F1 Insights, right?
Yeah.
All of those next-gen stats at the
Yeah.
NFL, right?
Yep.
So a lot of cool data use cases coming out of there. And that got me really excited. So then
That's awesome. So you were ESPN, did the deal with Second Spectrum.
I went to Second Spectrum.
You went to Second Spectrum.
Because I was like, I want in. This is interesting stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then really understanding where the data meets the video at a frame rate level, and then driving augmentation off that gets pretty exciting. So we're starting to see, and that's where, at the end of the day, you look at the tracking data that's coming out of the sports, that's what's yielding like the Simpsons version of the NFL or the Big City Greens version of the NHL. So it's yielding these like alt broadcasts that we're talking about that engage new audiences.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. And data's at the foundation of that. And
I think data's at the foundation. Goes back to, again, what we were talking about a little earlier too, that the user experience to use that data has to match, right? Because part of the reason, and there's so many data sets that have existed forever, but can people make use of them, right? And to do that, you need to be able to put it in the hands of people in a way that looks more like TikTok or Instagram story creation, and less like trying to figure out how to fly an airplane.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're hitting on the point, which is this data. There's a lot of science and and math to these analytics, but the art is the storytelling.
Yeah.
Why do these analytics matter? Why is it interesting? Why is it driving engagement? And it could be really simple stuff. I'll give you an example. I was watching the Western Conference Finals for the NHL last year. I didn't care who won. I had no horse in that race, did not care. And NHL had done, so first of all, they had done a live cloud production of an entire game. They were the first, major league to produce and distribute a game entirely in the cloud.
Oh, that's very cool.
And so when they did that, they actually produced an alt broadcast, a data cast, which then Warner Brothers Discovery picked up in the Western Conference Finals and did a data cast version. And I was watching that data cast. Again, I don't care who wins this game. They did something very simple with some of the data, and they put time on ice for each of the players in like a lower third. And so as a skater would get on ice, that number, that time stamp is like green, right? So it's like 1 second, 2 seconds. As it approaches 45 seconds, which is the optimal shift change, you're starting to get to yellow. Once you pass that, your number's red. And I'm sitting there, Nate, I'm like having a heart attack as like an entire red line is playing like a green and yellow line. And I'm like screaming at my television. I'm like, shift change, shift change. And I was like, I don't even care, right? But I have this data now, it's data that's actually making me more emotionally invested in the game. So again, how we use the data to tell new stories, to drive engagement, to get, it's
give context.
Exactly.
Yeah. The context in a live environment is so important. We got some stuff in the works with you guys that's going to be really fun. Won't share too much on
People want more.
Marty will kill me if I break the news, but on the AI front, we're building on Bedrock, and we have our vision for making things easier and easier is going to be amplified. Curious how you're feeling about I think a lot of people are like, I don't know, AI is kind of a fad, and I'm like, from everything I've seen in my lifetime, so there's things that I've definitely called fads, or things that were not going to catch fast enough.
Right. Metaverse.
Yeah, metaverse honestly was the biggest one for me. Where like social media, which really started my career, I saw right away, and I was like, this is going to be massive, and it's going to change the game, right? And it's going to change the world. And that's why I just like socked my career into that.
Right.
But you look at like Web3 and metaverse, and I'm like, I'm not saying, and even in some extent, like blockchain technology, it's like, I'm not saying it's not relevant or that it's not going to come to fruition. It's just like a matter of when. Where like AI, you look at it and you're like, every fucking day this is changing, and it is rapidly evolving.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because I think you've got this generative AI component too, right? And people are like, it's AI. I think AI, we've been doing AI for a long time, right? So machine learning and artificial intelligence and all of that stuff has been something that's been in sports for a long time. That's what drives these predictive analytics, shot probabilities. That's AI, right? But generative AI, I think is I mean, and I agree. I think that this is not, you're not going backwards from this, right? But you start thinking about those use cases and where does it make sense? And where is it additive? Right. And helping. And so, we see a lot on like operational efficiency use cases, really, right? Like how do you surface, I'll give you examples, several leagues, NFL has done this, PGA Tour has done this, a bunch of other examples of just having their entire repository of content. That the PGA Tour has 30 years of media guides, right? Their entire ShotLink scoring system, their entire video archive, all available and accessible through with Bedrock and natural language search capabilities to go in there and say, hey, show me the last time somebody birdied the 13th hole at the Shriners or whatever, right? Up comes the video, whatever. And you're surfacing this content so that you can use it to tell stories and actually get in there and say, hey, what's an interesting like through line or story in this matchup? And they could say, and then all of a sudden you're finding out that, historical things, can impact what you're watching there, and different streaks are in play and things like that. It makes it more interesting and makes the storytelling more powerful. Actually.
Yeah. I think it's a true, like, the thing it's best at right now is assisting and, and being I always think of it as like an extension of, of my brain in some capacity. And like when I need things like, and it, to trust in it 100%, people are weary of, and like, you don't want to put anything, your life on the line for some of it while it's working itself out. Right. But, it gets you pretty far, pretty fast. Right. I remember being in a car with Christine Chalk. We were in our chief product officer, who's EPing your F1 event, by the way. So shout out to her. Hopefully she doesn't.
F1 event.
Well, our F1. This is yes. Thank you for that correction. Christine's gonna murder me by the time this is all over. She's like, oh, this is like, it's a big show, right? It's a lot, but she's crushed it.
She's awesome.
But I remember we were in a car and we were driving through Chicago on the way to meet with one of our investors. And we were talking to a local station because we were working with them on like a shoppable use case that, that we also built with you guys. And we wanted to like be as helpful as possible. And they were like, well, we don't really have like a calendar that would help with the context and when we could use things like for shoppable items around sports. And Christine's got it on speaker, and she's driving. I'm in the side passenger seat, and I grab my laptop out of my bag. I'm not even speaking on this call. I'm just like hanging out on the side, but I created a calendar of the city and every sports event that was happening in the next 3 months. And I did it in a matter of, I don't know, less than 2 minutes, right? Like I worked back and forth with it and like it spit out this calendar, and I just kind of like, as we were at a red light, I just, nudged her. I was like, I just created it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I did it with Chat GPT, but like, it wasn't our product, but it's like, this is the power of what these things can do, right? That would normally take somebody, I don't know, hours to do. It took me.
Well, and I think it's a way of also making content, not only like driving those efficiencies that you're talking about and like pulling information from lots of disparate sources, clearly, but also, how do you make content more accessible to different audiences too? So that's where some of this, generative AI and on the booth is, LingoPal is an example, right? And they're taking a broadcast audio feed, right, and translating it into myriad languages instantly, right, so that you can actually deliver that sports commentary in different regions and to different demographic. And the cool thing about that is that that's something you would never do otherwise, right? It's never going to be logistically or economically feasible to take and have different talent calling a game in unlimited languages, right? We've actually, this is a cool one. We actually had a customer who wanted to do that, where they wanted to do multiple languages, but they also wanted to do multiple personas.
Oh, interesting.
So they actually did commentary generation in So they did multiple languages, and then within each language, they had one that was just like the straight sports broadcaster feed. They had one that was like really quippy, like ex Twitter style. They had one they called Bro. So you can imagine what that one was, right? It's like, dude, sick, cool, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's cool because now you're talking to to fans in the voice that they want to be spoken to, I guess, right? Or what? And so
they need audio casting. My 9-year-old and 6-year-old do a really good bruh.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They call mom bruh.
Yeah, so do my teenagers. I look at them, I'm like, I'm not your bro, I'm your mother. Like, enough.
Yeah, Rachel's thrown that back at them a few times. No. I'm mom, not bruh.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had that conversation at home too. But yeah, so it's cool because it's generative AI letting you make your content accessible to maybe new or more or different fans. Yeah. So I think there's some value in that also.
Yeah. And you need to be able to do that at the speed of live.
Speed and scale.
Yeah.
Right?
And scale. And that's, that is a hard, it's a hard task that, it's a world that really is exciting, right? Yeah. It's exciting to see.
And it also has to be in the cloud, right? It has to be accessible in a place that you can take it and then create multiple versions and get it out there to the universe.
Yep.
So, I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about what I don't know yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing is that it's always evolving and you're trying to figure out what are the applications and you test, you learn. And that's the best way to get familiar with it. And then it starts sort of opening up other ideas too.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine, show me, we were out on a golf course. It was my birthday and we were playing in the pouring down rain and I made everybody go anyways. I was like, it's Seattle. I'm like, there's no
birthday boy.
There's no fair weather golfing.
All right.
I'm like, just, throw on the right gear and let's get out and we're going to do a rain scramble. And it was a blast. But, my buddy, Paul Campbell, who I've kind of mirrored careers with forever, got him his first consulting gig at Microsoft as a social media guy as I was doing social. And then I went to T-Mobile to do social and he ended up doing social at Windows. And then I plucked him out of Windows at a later date to start building different companies. And somebody I just admire in the space. And we're sitting on this golf course and he shows me this app that he built. And I'm like, you don't code. And he goes, well, I do now. He's like, I have AI helping me build all of this. He's like, it's not, he's like, it's not clean. It's not the easiest. It's not to say that it, can do everything. He's like, but he showed me all the functionality of this thing and I was just blown away.
Yeah.
And it was cool because he looks at me and he's like, I've been like really excited to show you this. He's like, cause he's like, you're the most creative person, one of the more creative people I've ever met. He's like, but you don't code.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And I went home and started looking at, he helped me kind of outline like different things I could look at. And I started just tinkering and started building my own stuff. So now well,
that's it too. It's an equalizer that you don't have to know how to, this is where generative AI is coming in too and removing, and even if it's not the full scale, it's like there are some pretty mundane things that don't need to be physically coded. You could just accelerate and then you've got developers doing the much more complicated, interesting, sort of problem solving and coding and whatnot. But we're definitely seeing that use case at AWS where it's helping just accelerate software, development and coding.
Yeah, no, I'm my Eng lead and team hear it from me all the time. Craig's doing a really good job of just pushing our team to try everything and just keep that ear to the ground because it's changing every single day. But it excites me to figure out how to build some of these things with my own two hands where I've never really been able to, be on that side of it before. It's just, I don't think I have the attention span to sit down and code for too long.
I coded my very first job out of college was with Accenture.
Yeah.
There's a mandatory 6-week coding camp you go to essentially. And I remember just trying to, I'll remember this. It's all ones and zeros and whatever. Right. And I mean, we were actually coding in, I think it was C++ or something at the time. And I remember it was sort of a team project and our code wouldn't compile and we couldn't figure it out. And we're going line by line by line. Finally, I was like, oh, that's a 0. It's an O. It should be a 0.
Yeah.
Like we were combing through every single line. That's what we had to find. But these generative AI tools now can do that for you.
Yeah.
They can like pinpoint, this is where, and they can like clean it up for you too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That's really cool. How do you think, I mean, this is just, conceptually, as, we'll leave work hats off of this, but like, how do you think it's gonna, like, how do we teach our kids to, to embrace this, but like not let them use it to like replace how we all grew up learning things, right? Like that's something that's just been on my mind.
Philosophical,
right?
right? Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really interesting. Like, where's the line between, making something more expeditious, being expedient and using resources that are available, and then wholesale just, handing over your thought function to a computer, right, to a system.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know the answer to that. What do you think?
So yeah, it's something I think about a lot. I mean, I'm like, part of me using some of these tools, I'm like, man, if I train my 9-year-old how to use it, I feel like he could probably, he's very entrepreneurial already. He like gathers things in the house and has like yard sales out in the front yard and like sells things to our neighbors. And I'm like, dude, that's not for sale. Like bring it back in the house. But I'm like, I'm like, if I show him how to do this, he could maybe even like build a business and be an entrepreneur by the time he's 10.
So you're pointing out that there's
benefit.
great application. And look, at the end of the day, you still, you still need thought to what am I trying to do? What am I solving for? Right. That's what prompt engineering is, right? What is the question? How am I trying to guide this capability, Gen AI, to do something? So you still need that component of it.
I feel like personal relationships are going to become more and more important. That's one of the things I've kind of like been thinking a lot about is like, that's something that's not as replicable. Like how do you actually deepen like ties to, and that's a big part of business, right? You do business with people you like generally, like, you're all right. Like I was
fine.
Saw you in the suite and I thought about going to the next suite over at Final Four,
okay.
Like, no.
I see how it is.
No,
no, but you're right. Like to the extent that, but the same question could be asked around anything else, social media and screens and things like that. And I've seen it in my kids too. Like I see, the kids, their friends and stuff. Some of them are on screens all the time and they have a really hard time looking me at the eye and in the eye and talking to an adult or a human. Right. That's the part that worries me, is that you don't want to lose that social skill and that interaction, because at the end of the day, yes, we can transact in business all the time, but to your point, the relationships and the network and, is this somebody I trust to go into this unknown space together with, right? That's a big part of it.
Yeah, that is troublesome. I've witnessed that in my neighborhood, and it was anytime I do, I'm like, man, that sucks. Like there's some of these kids that just cannot even wave to you, like as you drive by, and you're like, but I know you, like, and,
right.
But then there's other ones that you can see, around the same age that, have had their parents teach them those skills. And I just think that that's like so incredibly important, because social definitely was the first wave of like, like eliminating a lot of that in-person stuff. Pandemic screwed a lot of people up, so we're all still recovering from that one a little bit. It was hard for kids, right, in developmental stages. But I think like that's an area that I think parents, like, we pay a lot of attention to it and want to really give the kids the most well-rounded experience possible, and also limiting everything from like screens to,
Yeah. No, I mean, I look at it the same way, right? It's at the end of the day, you need to be able to hold a conversation, look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, all of those things.
That was the coolest, actually, that was one of the coolest things that came out of that suite when we were sitting there, was when Tyler Price,
Leo.
when he brought Leo in and had Leo shake everyone's hand.
Sweetest.
And I was like, man, I mean, I've always admired Tyler, and he's a good friend, and sat here in this chair with me probably like, I don't know, 6 months ago or whenever we were here for the Vegas F1 race. But that was cool. Like that was a moment, I was like, that's really incredible. And for those who are listening, he walked his son in and, into a suite where, it's a lot of professionals and some he works with, some he's partnered with and all that. And he had his son go and shake everybody's hand and introduce himself.
And Leo made eye contact.
Yeah, and made eye contact.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the kids, they brought both kids in at one point, and they were, I was like, they're so well behaved. I'm like, oh man, if I had my 3 boys in this suite, this thing would have been just destroyed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, we put a lot of emphasis on that. Like our kids can, they can have as a matter of fact, the youngest one, my youngest, it's sort of like, you're going to want them to sort of shut up after a while.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep talking.
Well, we're getting the signal that we got to wrap at some point. So I'm going to give you a couple of just like quick questions because it's always fun. So in 3 words, use 3 different words. What are the best stories are?
Wait a minute. Wait, I need more context for your question. The stories in terms of.
So what do you think makes the best story?
Oh, just creatively. Emotion. You need some sort of emotional investment, right? God, this is hard because I'm trying. Are we talking video? Or are we talking like
no, just telling stories in general?
Conflict.
Yeah, conflict. I like that.
Emotion, conflict, and I guess the conflict maybe implies this, but I think you do need like a rooting interest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There needs to be some sort of connection.
Yeah.
So I'll put it in the word connection. Conflict, connection, and what else did I say? Emotion?
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Know.
Yeah, the connection part's interesting too, because some of these shows these days, like when you watch them, there's some of them where I'm like, I don't like any of these characters.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why am I still so invested in this? It's like a train wreck I can't look away from.
Yeah, some of it's just too much.
Yeah.
What do you like? Do you watch White Lotus then?
Yeah, we're watching the White Lotus. Yeah. We've had some discussions as us and our neighbors on like how strange that show is, but you just can't look away from it.
No, I have to look away from it. I'm like, this is too disturbing for me. And you know what? Like I need, if I'm going to watch TV, like first of all, I watch live sports, pretty much what I watch, right? And if I'm not doing that, I want to feel good about it. I don't need something making me feel like stressed.
The world needs more Ted Lasso. Let's go.
Come on.
Yes. All right. That's a good note to end on. I often talk about the mind like a goldfish quote.
All the time.
Yeah, that's my favorite. So, wrapping up, just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you. And thank you, Julie, for coming on and talking with me. This was very enjoyable. We probably could have gone on for hours.
We could have.
But we had a race to go to. We got to go race. I'd put my money on you. I feel like you've just got this inner F1 savagery waiting to come out and just whoop my ass.
I think it might be untapped. We're going to go find out.
All right. Thanks, everyone.